We are the power races, and this is our amazing race.
Okay, our races are identical twins and the ages are from 18 plus and the race will last 48 days. The first pair to complete the race will win $1 million.
So this is our map. It starts in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and ends in Mexico City, Mexico, and it goes in a clockwise pattern. Some of the locations we have on our race are Gera, Germany, Sydney, Australia, and Melbourne, Australia.
The transportation that we'll be using through this race will be cars, buses, trains, walking, transit, bikes, subways, and motorcycles.
So our first location is Fort Wayne, Indiana, Parkview Field. A mental challenge that can be done there. They will have 7 minutes to answer 10 questions about Parkview Field, having to do with like how many people they can seat in their stadium, or questions like that. And the winner gets a head start. The physical challenge, they would spin their head on a bat and then run across the field because they're dizzy. And then they tag their teammate in, and their teammate would do the same thing coming back.
Our next leg is promenade park. For the physical challenge, the team will play ping pong against each other. And for a mental challenge, they'll play scavenger hunt for 20 minutes around the whole park.
Our third leg is Montreal, Canada, and I selected this because the connection it has for Fort Wayne is hockey. They have the Montreal Canadian hockey team, and we have the Fort Wayne Comets to represent us. And it's a roadblock, so every contestant will have to make a hockey go from 32 feet away. I believe it's the 32nd season of Amazing Race to celebrate that.
Next is Gia, Germany. I picked Gia, Germany because of the botanical garden they have, and we have one that a lot of people go and visit. So a physical challenge would be that they would draw a plant and then they will guess the name. And a mental challenge is they would draw as many plants in 10 minutes and name them.
I chose Sorrento, Italy because their connection to Fort Wayne is churches. They have a Sorrento Cathedral, which is one of their most famous churches, and Fort Wayne is one of the city of churches. For the physical challenge, I chose the contestants will climb Mount Vesuvius, and they will be a tour guide to give them a list of 15 places that they could do a scavenger hunt throughout the city. And for the mental challenge, they will sing a traditional song called Torn Out Oxford Stuff.
I chose Pakistan because I went there for Ralph's homecoming, and he went back a year later. The physical challenge, either will have 5 minutes for a puzzle. And then mental challenges, they'll have 10 minutes for a scavenger hunt.
I chose Ragavan, India, because their connection to Fort Wayne is the religion. The Hinduism is number one most practiced religion in India, and in Fort Wayne we have a temple called Angkor. The physical challenge that I picked was the contestants will pick a pound of sorghum, which is a crop that grows in Ragavan. And the mental challenge, they will do a scavenger hunt through the Ajanta caves to find traditional Ashkenazi foods.
The 8th leg is Luliang, China. A physical challenge that can be done there, they would eat noodles, they'd have a noodle eating competition, and they'd have to eat them with chopsticks. A mental challenge that could be done at the Luliang Library. They could research a famous Chinese person, and they'd have to type like an essay about them. And this relates to Fort Wayne because they have the Yellow River in Luliang, China, and they like depended on the river for things like transportation and transportation of goods and services. And we have rivers in Fort Wayne that Native Americans used to depend upon for the same sort of things.
This is Takaoka, Japan, and the connection that it has to Fort Wayne is the restaurant of Takaoka of Japan. They're one of the restaurants that cooks and serves your meals in front of you, and they're the only ones that I can know of that's Fort Wayne that does that. And the physical challenge that we have here is preparing a meal for 4 of a traditional Takaoka dish in under an hour with no help. And the mental challenge will be solving a 250-piece puzzle of the city of Taco Bell.
Sydney, Australia. A physical challenge that can be done in Sydney, Australia at the Sydney Opera House. They would have to learn and act out a scene from the play Hamlet, and they would have to get checked off in order to move on. A mental challenge that can be done there, they would have riddles and questions, and they would have to solve these riddles and questions in order to get their next clue. This relates to Fort Wayne because it's in the Sydney Opera House is a theater by a body of water, and in Promenade Park there is a new theater by the river. Melbourne, Australia is a roadblock. They will have to hit 10 tennis balls through 3 different hoops, and first one to get all 10 of them gets an hour head start over the rest of the group. And this relates to Melbourne, Australia, because they have a tennis tournament called the Australian Open. It's one of the 4 major tennis tournaments, and this relates to Fort Wayne because we have tennis tournaments held all over, but a lot of them are held at the Wildwood Racquet Club.
I chose Cape Town, South Africa, because South Africa is one of the United States' many allies, so when traveling there, you'll feel more welcome. It's a roadblock, so the challenge that the contestants will do is they'll plant Bermuda buttercups, which is a crop that is grown in South Africa, and they will plant it in a local garden.
Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. I picked this one because Brazil imports a lot of our food goods. And a physical challenge they're going to do is they're going to be climbing a mountain, and a mental challenge is they're going to name a few mountains that are in Brazil.
My physical challenge still have 5 minutes to put together a puzzle. And my mental challenge still have 10 minutes for a scavenger hunt.
This is the Fort Wayne Indiana Courthouse, and it's one of our main attractions for tourists because it looks nice inside and it's pretty big. And the physical challenge here will be completing a game of Clue, and the mental challenge will be naming 10 historical facts about the Fort Wayne Courthouse.
For our last leg, we chose Fort Wayne Children's Zoo. For the physical challenge, they will ride on the Sky Safari ride and drop food down to animals. And for the mental challenge, they will knit blankets for the orangutan that live in the zoo.
This video shows pictures and videos of our locations that we chose.
Jimmy on the beat, boy.
And this is our board that we have, and each one of these little squares represents the passports to the places that we picked. And the flag in the back is the Fort Wayne flag. That's what this.